Folks, welcome back to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. Yes, this is a new episode, even though we are in the vortex of the holidays. But we are still pushing out content because it's the only thing that keeps me sane. With us today is a returning guest, and I've been on her podcast a lot. Now, her podcast used to be called The Curious Life Podcast, but she recently rebranded to Pop Therapy, which is an even better name than The Curious Life Podcast. She is a best-selling author, a therapist, and obviously a reality TV obsessive like all of us. And I got to meet her in person at BravoCon, which was very exciting. I guess that was like a month ago. I don't even know when BravoCon was at this point. Anyways, welcome back to the show, Jana Firestone. Jana, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Ryan. Oh my God. BravoCon just feels like a fever dream. Did it really happen?
It's best to think that it didn't happen because there's no reason that should have been real. Just to remind people, where are you at right now? Where are you located?
I am in Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne, Australia.
Australia.
I always have to remind people, well, weirdly enough, one of the places that I'm most listened to overseas is in Australia, which is so bizarre to me. But, we've talked many times, it's like, I think one of the big questions when I've talked to you in the past is like, you guys get these shows over there? Like, these guys, we export the shows? Like, it's the biggest idiotic question ever. But you've been watching these forever.
Oh, forever. I mean, like I am a day one OG obsessive, like all of the shows. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to get them sent in on a burned CD from a woman I found on eBay because it wasn't being aired here,
Well,
but now
how did you even know to like, how are you even aware of it to try to illegally smuggle it?
Yeah, I don't know. I must have been overseas or something and seen. So I must have somehow become aware of it. Was Perez Hilton around back then? Like, where would I have been getting my goss from? It must have been.
I mean, Perez was definitely around back then. But it is interesting how these things travel and then how popular, because you get it on Hey You, right?
Yeah, Hey You, but also on our streaming service, which is called Foxtel, which is like our cable service. So they used to show a select number of franchises on Foxtel. So I've always had Foxtel to make sure I can watch all of those things and VH1 and MTV and all of those things. And now it's all on Hey You.
Now it's all on Hey You. You get everything. All the shows are over there, right? It's not pick and choose.
Yeah. We get absolutely everything. It's essentially the Bravo app. It's like the streaming service for Bravo and Peacock. And I think it also has some other things like, those kind of like murder documentaries that aren't quite good enough for, like, they're not, it's like, I don't know if it's Discovery or something like that. They're not quite the Netflix level, but it's, the next tier down. There's lots of those sort of things on there as well.
Well, I mean, before we get into the pop culture and the reality TV, what do holidays mean to you? What are you spending this holiday doing? And as we near towards the end of the year, do you have any kind of rituals that you go through before you enter a new year?
I should. I really should. As a therapist, it's what I do is talking to people about reflecting on the year and wrapping things up and looking at goals and plans for the future. And I'm certainly thinking about that a little bit this year. We've had, not to get, too depressing, but it's been a really rough week here in Australia. We had
with Bondi Beach
terror attack in Bondi. Yeah. So it's been, and I know that happens more frequently, certainly in the United States, but for us here, it's been a little bit of a haven for the longest time. We haven't had any kind of shoot up like this since like the 90s. So it's kind of ricocheted through the community in a really big way. So we're all kind of thinking,
how could it not? I think sometimes over here we're desensitized by these things because they happen so frequently. And I was it's just horrific, and especially for such a tight knit community. that you guys seem to have, there is just nothing that you can say that would explain away or even explain. I mean, there never is anything because it's so hard for the human brain to comprehend that kind of hatred and that kind of loss of life. But you know, it's also a really hard topic to segue out of to Vicky Gunvalson.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. So like lots of people died, and guess what? Vicky got her orange back.
Yeah, Vicky got her orange back. Hey, so it's all even, right? Everything's even. No, I mean, as a therapist, though, I mean, I you know, when I've spoken to my therapist sometimes when horrific world events happen. And does that happen to you a lot as a therapist? Do people come to you not just with their own problems, but their worries about the world?
Yeah, I think it really brings to the surface whatever else is going on. And I think most people operate with a low level of anxiety anyway. And, you know, I think consuming the news, particularly in the last few years, the world has felt really quite heavy for a lot of people. And when something like this happens, it really can just ignite all of those fears and worries. And you start thinking like, what happens next? And how do we become safe again? And so I guess it's just about staying in the moment and focusing on the good things and the things that anchor us into our life, because we can all completely run away with all the what ifs and all the horrors of this world, of which there are millions. It's not just here or the United States. I mean, there's millions of people dying in Sudan. There's so many like terrible things happening everywhere in the world, you know? And so, yeah.
Do you then think that the shows that we cover or even that you talk about are kind of a respite? You know, they always, what do they call these, you know, the escapism that these shows provide. And then I always find it interesting when these shows do provide escapism, but these shows then brush up against real life issues, or like this year has been like another year of The Criminal for Bravo. You know, you had Karen Huger going to jail. We still have Erica Jane embroiled in multiple lawsuits. We have Dr. Wendy Asefo on Potomac, which she'll be facing charges next week. And you're sometimes like, oh man, you're like escapism from intensity. You're going to a place that is very intense, which I think is reality television. And maybe that's a mirror of life, but also I keep thinking it's a mirror of this aspirational life that maybe doesn't exist. And some of these ladies or some of these reality stars pretend, you know, and they're getting themselves into trouble because they're pretending to be ballers when it's like, I love these people for them. I don't care how expensive Dr. Wendy's stove is.
Totally. But, you know, then on the flip side, people are complaining that like, Gina Kirschenheiter is not aspirational enough. But
damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like we used to call her Casita Gina. We made fun of Gina every week on that show.
Yes. And meanwhile, as Heather Dubrow has said, she's the only one who actually owns her house, or one of the only ones who actually owns her house.
Real money. And, well, I mean, listen, was it the first or the second episode of the new season of Beverly Hills? We got the price tags of 3 of the ladies having Birkins. They had a Birkin off, and they all were like above, I believe, $30,000. Kyle had a little mini Birkin, right? A little, and this week, and that was like $33,000, and she couldn't even close it. I didn't even realize I learned this week that Birkins are really hard to close, and I'm like. If I'm paying $30,000 for that, it better fucking close. It better open my
Where's
garage.
the functionality?
It better have a computer in the Birkin if it's not going to close.
Yes, totally. I mean, totally.
What are you loving the most right now that you're watching?
I mean, goes without saying, Salt Lake is the best thing on TV still to this day. It was before BravoCon. It continues to be after BravoCon. I love Southern Charm. And look, Ryan Bailey, this is thanks to you, my friend.
Wait, is that did Craig sign that?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay, guys, if you're listening to this and not watching it on YouTube, she's holding up Craig Conover's storyteller hat that he was selling at the BravoCon the BravoCon booth that he had for his, what's his pillow store called?
Sewing Down
South. Sorry, brain fart. And Jana, I told I was going to be there, and we picked somebody out of the crowd to do like a little trivia thing, and Jana was there, so she got to be live on Peacock with us. So she got to watch me do the Craig. So they gave me one of the hats, but I didn't ask him to sign it. You stayed around and asked him to sign it.
No, he just did it. Like we were chatting afterwards.
You're like, I just want the hat. You're like, I'm signing.
Yeah, he like threw in a couple of extra things, and he's like, "Hey, do you want me to sign it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you." And then you know what? I have been so firmly like Team Craig since then, right? And I've been posting little clips from other interviews I've been doing where I'm kind of like coming to his defense a little bit, which we can talk about if you want to.
Sure.
And he actually messaged me, sent me a DM and said, "Hey, I'd love to do your podcast maybe early in the new year." So we'll see if the Bravo
That's
gods
all it
align.
takes is to really kiss Craig's ass, and then he will come on your show. No, I mean, that's amazing. That's great. Did he ask for any nudes?
Not yet, but look, I've got the all clear from my partner. I'm ready to go.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, I'm enjoying all of those shows. I think Salt Lake, probably people are sick of me saying how much I love that show. And it is interesting because even if you look at the ratings, the ratings across the board on Bravo over here in the States, they're not great for day and date, but you throw in streaming numbers, that's where everything really pops. But it's funny, like Beverly Hills gets the highest ratings right now on day and date because that's been around for 15 seasons. But Salt Lake, I think some people have yet to catch up to like how good that show is and how different it is within the confines of a Real Housewives iteration. But as a therapist, when you watch something like Salt Lake, is there somebody that you're like, I could help that person? That person needs help and I could help them. Like, who would that be for you?
God, I would love to get Lisa in the chair. I would love
Barlow.
Yeah.
But how would you even go about that? Because, I mean, first off, she'd love it because she gets to talk about herself.
Yeah.
But then how do you even approach something like that?
Very good question. I mean, as you know from therapy, you have to really be buying in. Like you can't just put someone in the room. Yeah. So, we'd have to cross that bridge first. And I feel like probably for the first few sessions, it would be all about what everybody else has done wrong and how frustrated she is.
I'm frustrated with Heather.
Frustrated. But, I could I reckon we could really unpick some stuff. And I think there's a deep, sensitivity actually within Lisa that.
Oh, yes.
You
can get her to cry within 10 seconds.
Yeah, but I think she's really sensitive to other people's thoughts and opinions. And, people throw around like narcissism all the time with these people. And you have to have some level of, self-interest, I suppose, to be on any of these shows. Anyway, but I just feel like there's some stuff there that's not talked about with her. And I feel like this season we're seeing her in a far more fragile state and it's not clear where that's coming from. Is it all of these quote unquote dismissed lawsuits that have, weighed her down? Is it because, my friend Kat from Worm with a Mustache sent me these clips from. Yeah, me too. She's fabulous. I had her on the show a couple of times. She was another BravoCon connection. But she sent me a few TikToks about Lisa's businesses that allegedly may not even exist. So, like, if you're carrying all of these burdens and secrets and God only knows what, you are going to be a quivering mess. And I just think we need to unpack all of that and get to the root of it and rebuild a little bit.
Folks, have you ever had that my last pair of contacts panic? I used to do that all the time where I would not reorder my contacts and then I would have to re-wear contacts all the day. It was horrible. Or worse, you've been completely out and stuck wearing like big, bulky glasses, the kind that do not look cool. Now, I don't even worry about it because my next set is always on the way with 1-800-CONTACTS. They're the only major contact lens retailer that lets you renew your prescription online, so I can get my contacts fast. 1-800-CONTACTS have fast, free shipping and delivers the same contacts my doctor prescribes right to my door. All without ever leaving my home. So for over 30 years, 1-800-CONTACTS has been the leader in online contact lens delivery with millions of contacts in stock and award-winning customer service. Here is what sets them apart from everyone else. They offer fast, free shipping on every order and have over 100 million contact lenses in stock, ready to ship from their distribution centers across the country. They also have free returns and exchanges, which means you can order confidently. They even offer unbeatable perks like free torn lens replacement. They also provide a way to renew your contact lens prescription from home with their online vision exam. Express Exam. It takes less than 10 minutes and it gives you a doctor-issued prescription you can use to buy contact lenses. No other major retailer makes prescription renewal that easy. And their best price guarantee means if you find your contacts at a lower price elsewhere, they're going to beat it. That's a promise you won't find everywhere. They also have extra discounts for new customers on their site. Their 24/7 customer support is there if you ever need help day or night. Whether you have a strong prescription or astigmatism like I do, they will deliver your contacts with fast, free shipping straight to your mailbox. So, getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com and download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. I mean, I've been doing this show so long, and I think the frustrating thing as I enter this next year, it's like with that Lisa Barlow thing is that, listen, I've said it a million times. I love Lisa Barlow. I don't want her going anywhere, but I rarely agree with her. And if I was her friend in real life, I could imagine being very frustrated myself being friends with her because it does seem like she speaks a certain way about herself. And, there's a difference in confidence and cockiness. And at the end of the day, I think the most upsetting thing for me is that I really don't know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if her businesses are uber successful. She just revealed that she bought a horse the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that costs real money. Who knows if that is true? And it then puts the show in this weird position of having to prove somebody a liar or having to prove that somebody's telling the truth. And Meredith's in there a little bit as well. But I sometimes just want the answer. Just tell me.
Yes.
Like if you're broke, if you're on the precipice of like bankruptcy, I don't care. I still love you. Like, I am fine. Like, I don't, like, her being uber wealthy does nothing for me. Her showing up and being her in scenes, that's what I love. And of course, she has a different metric for her own life than I have for her life.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing with these housewives shows or reality TV shows in general is, what is the reality behind the reality? Because I don't want 3 years from now, I don't want to see you in court. I will be brokenhearted if I have to see you in court, not just for a lawsuit, but for something even deeper and darker. And that's the thing is that I want to know if she's behind the scenes going, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I'm almost about to be caught. Or is it just really us just being like pesky, nosy people and everything's fine? What is it?
Yeah. Totally. And, I suspect with Lisa and probably some of these other women, but particularly with Lisa, I see this kind of, I think whether she was on TV or not, it would be super important to her to be seen as really wealthy and having all the labels. I mean, we saw that fight with Angie about, I had my Porsche, for 4 years and I had this and you've had that, like I think regardless of the cameras and the fans and the people watching, I think for Lisa, that materialistic vibe would be there no matter what. And so she would be that friend that always had all the labels. And so, I think
you can also see why she's good casting because I do believe Lisa's like that in real life. And if you met Lisa Barlow in real life, you'd be like, oh my God, she'd be great on TV.
Yeah.
Like I know, I can already see like, she'd be like, oh, she's perfect. She's exactly what we would want for a housewife character. Yeah. I do believe she is being very authentic to a degree on that show. Maybe, cause even if she is lying about her wealth, she's probably lying about her wealth in real life as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think she's actually, an interesting character. But the other one, obviously, that I would love to really sink my teeth into is Bronwyn, because she has so much of that family trauma that we, can see in that relationship with Muzzy, who, by the way, is turning into quite a lovable
Yeah, Muzzy
character now.
really, she had a couple scenes where but the shows are great like that usually. Like if they set somebody up, well, if they show somebody and they already know, they know that the audience is going to take well to certain people, they'll usually show that there's a different side of them as well. The only person that they have not been able to do that yet is with Todd. They've not been able to fully do it with Todd yet, but everybody else they'll usually do that with.
Yes. Yeah. Todd, doesn't give them much to work with. I would love to get an answer to the farting and making out scenario as well.
It's going to be one of the greatest mysteries we leave behind in 2025 is, was Todd making out with another woman, and was he farting the whole time? And on top of that, does he just fart in general when he makes out with people, whether it be Bronwyn or anybody?
Well, that's right. I mean, he's an older gentleman, and
you think it happens to all older men? Is that they just start farting?
Yes,
okay. That's
like the older men that I know, they just like walk the streets, just letting it loose.
And you see,
like they just don't care anymore.
Do you remember when we first went into Bronwyn's house and she had the dog poop everywhere that wasn't picked up? That could have been Todd's poop. We don't know. They blamed it on the dogs. Could have been Todd. And that house looks so cavernous that you just imagine just the farts are wafting and it's like an open, airy space. So you might not even know if he has gas or not.
Totally. And it's a great decoy. Get as many dogs as possible. I mean, don't we all just blame it on the dog? Like, this is like the perfect setup for Todd.
He's just gruffly pooping everywhere in his own. I paid for this house. I'll poop where I want. Damn it.
That's it. Like walking along, scrolling at pictures of girls and just like dropping bombs all over the house. I mean, what a catch.
He's just DMing with other ladies like, what are you wearing right now? They're like, what are you doing? I'm farting, looking at your pictures. Yeah. Well, but what do you think about Bronwyn, like where she goes from here? Because they're separated, headed towards divorce. I was talking about this on Monday's episode, I think, or I was talking about this somewhere, but it's like, did she go on this show to get divorced? Was there a plan in place already? Like, I mean, Todd's participated in filming when he already knows he looks bad on TV. He's probably somewhat of a decent person. I just have to imagine he is, even though I'm going to get shit for saying that, I know. But what do you think's going on there?
Do you know what? I don't think she went into this with a plan, because the way that she defended him, you remember after her first season and all the media she was doing, anytime, Watch What Happens Live, all of that, she was so protective of him and she kept kind of flip-flopping. We would get a glimpse like when she was on the boat with the girls and came out with the conversation about the
infidelity,
the cheating. Oh, it was, and made it a big deal with the girls, where I think she was having a genuine moment of connection and honesty, and then had to mop up the mess with Todd. And then the story got smaller and smaller and smaller, and that could have been a perfect out for her. And she didn't take it. She ran the other way. So I feel like it's probably just something that's evolved over time, and maybe she'd privately had thoughts about it. But, this is a big mirror. They are seeing themselves in a way that they will never have seen themselves before. And we can all pretend the people in our lives are, not as bad as they are in our real lives, because we're going around behind closed doors and we can move on from things. But if the whole world is commenting on your relationship, and your
that's the thing, is it's not just seeing themselves represented on television. It's the audience and what we're talking about and what we're memeing, and that is the part that I participate in, and I don't plan on stopping. But at the same time, I realize I'm not ignorant enough to be that could cause a lot of pain. If you're like, oh God. And a lot of these people really do live in the comments, unfortunately, because I'm sure at first it's like hearing your band song on the radio. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this is potentially negative. But that's what happens when you are using your actual real life as commerce. You're going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think with the Bravo audience in particular, we're ready for vitriol at any time.
Yeah, 100%. So, I feel like for her, this is something that has evolved through the show, and potentially it's given her the confidence to realize that actually people will support her, and there's a whole new world that could exist beyond the confines of the poop palace. And this is like, like she now has a fan base and people
Yeah,
do
she does. I love her. I
love her.
love Bronwyn.
Yeah.
I love her. I don't, and I'm blessed that I don't give a rip about fashion. So I don't care if she can't afford those clothes or she can't. I like her. So I root for her, and Salt Lake's one of those great shows where pretty much everybody except for Heather Gay I root for at this point. And you I love Heather Gay. I just feel like she's going so hard. I feel like she's producing at this point.
Yeah, like, I heard your recap on the most recent episode where it really, and I felt exactly the same way. It was just like, let it go, Heather. Actually, none of us care about this hill that you're dying on. Like, let's move the story forward. Yeah. Yeah. Especially
do
because.
You really believe that Heather Gay cares that Meredith Marks? She called everybody a liar, but Heather is saying she took that as a personal offense. And I'm like, what do you think you guys have done here the last 5 seasons? You've all called each other's liars. But now that's why I think Heather has information and she's being so sloppy in trying to get it out. She's not like being like strategic at all. She's just being like a very clumpy iron fist that just is hitting everywhere. I mean, what does she have on Meredith? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, and I think, she, as you say, it's like the producer's eye is a little bit it's a little bit blurry, but she's just, and probably getting a little bit drunk and excited there, and she's like, "Oh, that's right, I'm fighting with Meredith. Meredith, I've been nothing but a good friend to you, and I've never been called a liar. You assassinated my character." And it's just like, move on. And then I think Lisa made a great point. She's like, let's get to the reality of the situation. It's actually Whitney and Meredith.
Whitney called her a pill popper and an alcoholic.
Yes, that's what the issue is. And poor Meredith, like, I actually feel like, how can she actually answer the things that matter when she's being bamboozled and sort of like, what's the word where it's like a pile on? Anyway, and they're all just going on and on and on about these pointless little things when actually, like, it'd be interesting to hear her response to the pill popper and the alcoholic, not calling.
Well, I feel like they throw those things out there because they have cold, hard proof. It's just that they can't tell us what they have. So they have to get Meredith to talk about it because that's like polite society or polite reality show society. So I do believe there is an issue there. And obviously we've seen Meredith for so many seasons have so many weird moments when she's like imbibed too much, which gave us the iconic, "You can leave." Like we all like the slur. I mean, all of those things that I find her iconic for, there's gotta, we have the visual proof. There's been like issues like last season when Brittany says Meredith was crying and throwing up in the middle of the night, and Meredith said that didn't happen at all. There are all of these little stories that you've like, and once again, I love Meredith, so I just hope she's okay, but it is going to get it's going to make the other girls continually look bad if they keep chasing this storyline and Meredith refuses to give anything from it, because it's going to turn people on Meredith's side.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like something happened, and she's just got to cop to some of it, and the fact that she just keeps kind of almost going like, "I don't know what you mean," like nothing happened. I watched 2 movies and went to sleep. It's like
she doesn't remember the movies, which sorry for those filmmakers.
Yeah, I have to say though, I did watch Crazy Rich Asians on my flight back from LA to Melbourne just because I felt
you were hammered though, right?
I was totally hammered. It was after I was screaming at the people in front of me, and I just needed something to unwind.
Guys, this holiday season, if you're taking a flight to or from your holiday and you get wasted and watch Crazy Rich Asians, please get into a fight with somebody in your row and take a picture, send it to So Bad It's Good. I'd love to post it. Everybody, if you give me proof that you watch Crazy Rich Asians and fought with your passenger on a plane, I'll give you like a free year of Patreon or something.
Oh my God.
Let's, the season of
making
giving.
dreams come true. I love it.
If we can get you banned
gift
from
of
flights.
Fights on a plane.
You got to give us at least a 1-minute video, please.
Yes. I did see, and look, I am not a TikTok person. I think I'm too old.
I go in waves, yeah.
I can't, like, I don't like how you open the app and suddenly there's all these videos playing. Like, I just want to, like, peacefully come in and then decide where I want to go. But, like, you just press the app and it's just, like, playing something and I don't know where to go and how to navigate
into
it.
A trance for, like, 3 hours.
Well, it just puts me into panic. But for some reason, I accidentally opened the app the other day and I came across some guy posting a screenshot, apparently, from the plane. And he's saying, I don't know if he's just like trying to get followers or something, but he's saying he was on the plane during
Jana, that's bullshit. That is like,
Is
that's
it bullshit?
Troll. Yes.
Total
People
troll?
do that shit all the time. We're getting fooled by stuff like this. We're getting fooled by AI. We're getting fooled. Like, I actually did a video where I said I was on that plane and I still get comments from people going like, oh my God, spill it then. Or like,
oh my
no,
God.
you weren't. I'm like, I thought it was obvious I wasn't. I thought it was like, just nobody like bothers to look at the account. Like my account is all silliness anyways. And I'm like, why didn't you just, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, God bless these people that think they're being told the truth all the time.
Yeah.
Like, God bless that. But at the same time, that can be taken advantage of so easily. You can really put anything out there and somebody's going to believe it these days.
Well, you actually can. And you can definitely fool me on TikTok because it is like a whole, like, completely different world. I do not know how to navigate.
Jana, did Sandra give you the stuff? Because did you fill out the, we needed your social security number, which I don't think you have, all right? Well, I needed the last 4 digits of your credit card and your address.
Of course.
But it's a podcasting thing we're doing. It's not even a big deal.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No problem.
Give it to me whenever you can.
Hang on. I'll get my card. I'll hold it up to the camera.
I do this with all the guests. Yeah. If you could hold the card up to and just the back of it as well, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
This podcast is sponsored by Walden University. Do you ever catch yourself thinking, hey, what if I could go after what I actually want and really make a difference? Well, if you do, you're not alone, and that's exactly why I want to tell you about Walden University. For over 50 years, Walden has helped working adults like you get the W with the knowledge and skills to build the future you want and make a difference where it matters most. With 100+ degrees and certificates, it has never been easier for students to find a program that matches their goals. And with Walden's Tempo Learning, you're in control. No set weekly deadlines, no rigid schedules, just the flexibility to progress towards your degree at your own pace. Available in select programs. So, if you want to make a real change, Walden University. Set a course for change. Certified to operate by chef.
Date of birth, my passport should be here somewhere too.
Somebody was, I saw some post today of like a dating app with the guy that was like this attractive guy. And this lady was like, whoa, people are going to be in line for this guy. And you see that the guy's hands, like he was holding his hands crossed. And you saw that his like 2 of his middle fingers connected. Like it was an AI image and this lady didn't catch it at all. And this lady was like, this guy's hot. And I'm like,
no.
His hands are attached together by AI.
Oh my God. Well, that's going to be the whole new spin-off for 90 Day Fiancé for sure.
Oh, God. Well, when do you think we'll get the first? When do you think we'll get the first AI excuse on Housewives of like, that's not true. That's AI. This is AI. That's an AI message. Because
my God,
Jax would have done good with this on Vanderpump Rules back in the day of like, that's not me. That's somebody using my voice through an AI processor.
Yes. It was. I didn't get that girl pregnant in Vegas. It was completely AI.
It was AI. Well, I don't know if you could use it for that, but it would be great to try. Yeah,
he would try.
Use that. Yeah, he would try.
Yeah.
So obviously Salt Lake, you have all of these ladies. They're in Greece. I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with everything there, and it's got enough mystery and questions that I'm pretty. And also, you have Below Deck Down Under, which it premieres over here, I believe, in early February, if I'm not mistaken. And we get those first 3 episodes will be the reverse of what we saw on the Below Deck Salt Lake City crossover. So I'm really excited to see that because it does seem they've now said a couple of comments. I want to see how hard Brittany has flirted with Joao and Captain Jason and what it is from their perspective. So like that is something to look forward to in 2026.
Totally. And I think Jason's coming on my show soon. And I Captain Jason. I wonder.
Yeah, wait, does he get offended if you just say Jason? It's like,
Well, I don't
I
know.
went to
Is it
captain
like an
school. It's
official?
Captain Jason, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to like call them by their title all the time? Yeah, but I wonder how much he'll be allowed to talk about it because
See,
you
that's
know
the
what?
thing with some of these Bravo celebrities. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's diminishing returns. Like it's exciting to talk to them, but you can only talk about so much. You know, it might be
Yeah.
different since you're over there, but like I've always found like then you have to cut things and like I always
Yeah.
love it, but at the same time you're never going to get that like in-depth interview you
No,
want
except
unless
yeah, I was
what?
going to say the best time to talk to Bravo Labs is between seasons because then Bravo's
Yes,
kind of off
exactly.
their neck,
100%.
you know?
Yeah, they've got to want to do it then, and it
Yeah.
doesn't go through Bravo PR. I love you, Bravo PR,
Yeah.
if you're listening.
Yes,
I'm just
it's
saying the reality.
so obsessed, and I will do
Well, because
anything you say,
they're
Bravo
protecting their
PR.
product, right? They,
Yeah, of
this
course.
is their
Yeah.
product. These people, and so they're protecting information, and it just doesn't sometimes make for the most dynamic interview
Yeah.
where you end up getting messages like, "Why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that?" Going,
Yeah.
you know, and you're like, "Of course I thought of course I would ask that if I could," you know?
Of course. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. But you know, sometimes you'll just get a little glimmer. This is why I wonder if Craig really will come on the show in January because it'll
Yeah,
all
wait.
come down to
Craig. He will come.
the
I
PR.
think Craig's a man of his word. But you said you were defending Craig in some of your content. How do you defend Craig?
You know, it's so funny because I used to be like in the early seasons, and I've said this on those episodes, but like I always found him so annoying, like the little brother annoying. He reminded me of my own younger brother, and he just gave me that same feeling of like, oh, so annoying.
Yeah.
And you could just, he was really young and he was lying all the time and, you know, like bullshitting. And it just was like, I wasn't
So
into
far,
it.
this is a great defense. So far,
Yeah.
you're
This is
crushing it.
called, this is called like
I'm gonna make a clip out of this and tag Craig.
no.
Yeah.
Love you,
Enjoy
Craig.
your
Love you, Craig.
interview.
Storyteller. I'm telling a story.
Oh, yeah, I'm a
Okay?
lawyer and a
I'm a
storyteller.
lawyer and a storyteller. So, but then I feel like we have seen him develop and mature. And I know that sounds ridiculous on the back of the fight with Austin, but those two are like brothers that are fighting because they love each other, because they're jealous of each other, because,
You know what
Austin.
it is? Because they're both longing for something that will never be the same. Like they're both longing for a time and place that was, and I'm not even joking when I say this. That was magic. That was like
Yes.
they understood each other. They also
Yeah.
went through pandemic with each other, where they were
Yeah.
up being goofy, drunk every night. They were live on Instagram, and they really thought, "Oh my God, this really is my brother." And
Yeah.
there are those moments in life that bond you. I think women have this. I think dudes have this. But it's just like, I love you, dude. I love you.
Yeah.
And then there's a sadness when your life goes on. And,
Yeah.
there's a reason season and all of those things with the friendship, and sometimes if you're not used to that, if you're not secure enough to realize that life is kind of just like this ebb and flow, then it could really upset you. And we've watched both of these people get so upset because it was so good in their friendship. It was their friendship meant so much to them. And we gassed that friendship up so much because they're like, oh, it means so much to the fans. Pillows and Beer, the podcast means so much to it. So I think it comes from this really pure place of I always joke about romantic love, but of just love, of just like, I love you, dude. No, I love you. And so that's why it is so hard for both of them.
Totally. And I think the unspoken layer on top of all of that is they're riding this wave together of fame and the show has grown. They were both doing the crossovers with Summer House and Winter House. They were truly at their peak of reality TV. Yeah. And they were doing it together. And I think along came Paige and that, threw a spanner in the works and the relationship had to change because of course.
So are you, wait, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I heard then this bitch Paige came along. Was that kind of what you were saying?
Absolutely not. Not that she'll hear this because I am still blocked by Paige.
Oh, I'm blocked by Paige too. We're good.
I
You're
don't know
good.
what I
You're
did.
totally good.
Yeah.
I think Craig made her block me back in the day, to be
Oh
honest
my
with you.
God. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
No,
it's
I'm sure she's
yeah,
fine.
but I think, like a girlfriend comes along and it changes the dynamic between the two
Which
single
happens
guys
all the time.
all the time. And it's such a relatable story. I think everyone has been in a situation. Admittedly, it's much more of a feeling like when you're younger in your 20s, when the first person gets a serious boyfriend or girlfriend and it like changes. There goes your
But as we've said,
wingman.
reality shows give you Arrested Development. You
Totally.
freeze the year that you go on a reality show, which for some of these dudes, it's in their late 20s. I think it froze them at this certain mentality that they were never forced to actually grow past a certain point. And that's another reason, because Craig actually allegedly is trying to grow past that. And everybody's like, fuck you, dude. We decided I thought we made a promise not to grow until after this show was over,
Yeah, look, Shep's still on the way. We've got at least another 10 years of this stuff to go.
Poor Shep.
Poor Shep, I know. And I also feel a little bit sad that the show has done that. Like, I really wish we could kind of go through the sliding doors and see what would their lives have been like if they hadn't been on this show.
That's what I said that a couple of weeks ago. I said, this is the one show above all the shows that I would love to know if this didn't happen, where they would all be. I mean, this is because the Housewives, I'm not nearly as curious. Like, I think Kyle Richards, would have been, I mean, maybe her and Mo would still be together, but other than that, there's not really a burning curiosity. But the Men of Southern Charm, I would be very curious where they'd all be now without reality TV.
Absolutely. Although, from the perspective of all the other participants on that show, and it seems like everyone lives in Charleston, says because there are so many women and so few men there, potentially they would have had a longer period of Peter Panning, even without the show. But would Shep be, he's a bit older than me, I think. I'm 43. I think he's at least 45, isn't he?
46,
46.
Yeah, 46.
Okay.
46, yeah, in that range, I believe. But
God, he feels so much older than me. It's weird.
He's, to me, the Matthew McConaughey character in Dazed and Confused, if you ever saw that movie.
Totally.
These girls keep getting young, and I stay the same, or something. It's something that it's like, it's always that vibe. But
I keep getting older and the girls stay the same age.
Yeah, he's proud of it. He's like, I think Shep is proud of that, and it's that kind of patriarchal and also Southern mentality. And I say all of those things, and I can also still say I like Shep. I like him. I bet he would be a blast to have a drink with. Like, totally. I bet he would be so fun. But anyways, back to Craig. You think that he actually has tried to grow from where you watched him earlier in early seasons. You find him to be on a place of a growth path.
Yeah, I really do. And I think, we see his immaturity come out in his relationship with Austin, but do we see it with other people? I don't think we do. I think he's...
So you're saying but everybody on that cast says at one point they have been scared of Craig.
Well, yeah, but is that because they've been like standing in Whitner's garden and watching him scream at his best friend and feeling like, oh, I hope he doesn't do that to me? I would actually challenge them all to think about, has he in the last year or so actually done that to anyone else? Because we see it with Austin all the time, but I can't think of an example of him.
We saw it with Vanita a little bit. I mean, he talks a little trash with Vanita because he feels like Vanita doesn't like him. We did see him.
Absolutely doesn't like him.
Yeah, absolutely. We also saw it with blanking on the owner of Republic.
Lever. Oh, Lever. Yeah.
We saw him kick her out of the holiday party a couple seasons ago. We've, they always do the editor trolls where he's, going up against the women.
That's true.
Remember with Naomi when he was drunk a couple seasons ago, where he's like, oh, get over it.
Oh, yeah, and he was with Paige then. Yeah. So, okay, I take it back. So he does need to work on the anger. But I feel like he's aware of that, and I feel like
he is aware of that. But he said in last week's episode, he said, I feel like sometimes I can't really get over the concept of, like, I need alcohol to be a fun person, or like like that. I need that, and I still haven't accepted that I don't need it to be, It's very, I mean, that was very relatable. Like, there's another one. I like Craig. I get shit from my own fiance for saying I like Craig. And I like these people, but I also like to make fun of them. And that's that's my cross to bear.
Yeah. By the way, loving the dynamic with you and Rebecca. She's so much fun on the podcast, and I know maybe you don't like this, but I like how she kind of like reveals things about you, and you're like, "Hang on, just wait a minute."
Whoa! We were on the Patreon the other day, and she revealed. I was like, "No! What are you doing? What are you doing?"
I love it. No, but you know what? She gets so passionate, and I feel like I really relate to her because I get, similarly passionate about things, and I really love that she's not holding back. I think it's a great dynamic. So
it's a great
loving it.
With anybody on the podcast, when they don't hold back, it's the best. Like, and doing this for so long, it's like I'll have my strong opinions, but I've also learned to like temper myself or like try to, and it's great when you have somebody on like at the very beginning where they're just like, they're truly set. And I think there's something so honest about that. And like that kind of honesty hasn't been beaten out of you yet, but like people's reactions to your opinions. And I think that's like, it's been so fun with having her on, and it's been so easy because that's naturally how we talk anyway. So it's like our dynamic, which was fun, but it makes things so much easier for me one day a week where I'm like, and she actually does enjoy watching Southern Charm. So it is like an easy thing to do. Do you find yourself like what I was thinking about this today with you? What is your, you can't use the Craig thing, but what is your worst Bravo take? Like, what is the take that nobody agrees?
Bravo take.
Nobody agrees with you on. Nobody agrees with you. Like, you
and
tell
I can't
people,
use Craig. Okay.
You can't use. Well, by the way, and that might not be wrong, but I'm saying, what is the one people will be like? Are you out of your mind?
Okay. Oh, I mean, it's in the same vein. I don't really get the hype with Paige.
Are you out of your mind? No, I'm joking.
Sorry, Giglet. And look, maybe it is like a generational thing. Maybe I'm not the right. Maybe I am just a bit too old. I don't get it. I don't really see how she's a fashion icon. Honestly, everything. Oh my God, Ryan, you're going to get me in so much trouble here. But it's not a Bronwyn. Bronwyn looks like she's wearing like architectural pieces. I could absolutely see her as fashion. Paige looks like she's wearing things off Amazon.
I think she is. I think she's doing Amazon Lives. And
I'm just like, I don't get it. And I also, look, I think she was funny. I think she had some, funny lines. She's witty. There's no doubt about that. I think she's 1,000 times funnier than Hannah Berner. I absolutely cannot understand how there is a fan base there for her. Oh God, I'm really
no. This is I agree. Like, especially if I used to do Summer House recaps, and I would go off on Paige because I just didn't think it was entertaining to watch somebody in bed because
Absolutely
I'm in bed
not.
most of the time, and I can tell you what, it's not entertaining. Like, it is truly. I've watched myself. Like, it is not entertaining.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a sec, you're in the Summer House, and I can guarantee you guys, this season without Paige, I bet it's more active. I bet you anything that is more active. But I grew used to that. And then I grew to have a different appreciation for Paige because I usually thought, like, if, she wasn't good about talking about her own life, but she was pretty whip smart and like laser focused when it was about somebody else's.
Yes.
And she was able to have, she would be able to call out Kyle on his bullshit. And I did grow to really appreciate where I was like, God, she really is flipping funny. And she was good at a talking head. And I don't mean like good at like, because I always said Lala gave good talking head as like a weird joke. But like Lala was always like, there was like a falseness that always ran in it. But with Paige, I was like, no, that seems like how Paige really is. I also really, truly, I have a weird kink with people like building something and watching her, even though I'm not a giggler, I'm not anti-giggler, but I don't listen to the podcast, but watching her build that gave me so much respect for her, and it even earned back respect that I had lost for Hannah, because I do know, and how hard that is to do. And listen, I am a different age range, so I'm not going to get it the way a certain demographic is, but I'm all for people having their own things. Like, if that speaks to you, like, it'll be really interesting to see where they go from here. But like, to sell out 2 nights at Radio City Music Club, that blows my mind. Like,
Yeah.
for a podcast. There's no
Yeah.
singing and dancing, you guys. This is
Yeah.
a podcast. There's nothing but like hats off respect for that aspect of it. And I also respect that she didn't come back to Summer House. I was like, there's a person that truly cares about their mental health.
Yeah, you know what? I will give her those absolutely as well. I think it's incredible what she's been able to do, you know, for her own brand and business, no doubt. But I think the build up for me was definitely the bed bug stuff. That was like what a waste of a spot on the show. But also that she would basically contribute nothing the entire season, except when she was by herself doing the talking heads, but she would say nothing in person really. And then she would come for Lindsay like a bat out of hell at every reunion. And it's like, where was this energy for the show?
You're right. I hated that as well. I hated that as well. Because, and by the way, like, I think Lindsay has finally earned Paige's, respect, finally.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like that was...
I used to hate that shit with a passion because I was like, we're all different and they just don't appreciate who Lindsay is as like, we're never all going to be the same. And supposedly we're supposed to find that like amazing about the world is that we're all different. And Lindsay's a different type of personality and you either get it or you don't. And if not, though, you don't try to work to talk shit and destroy that other person. That's like Housewives to me. And Summer House has a different vibe entirely. And I don't think this is a horrible take, but I think a lot of people might. I don't think Sierra should ever entertain being with Wes Wilson ever again. Like we see in the trailer for the new season, which premieres in February.
But you know what? I think as a girl, many of us. No. I'm not going.
Oh, you're brainwashed.
No. I'm not going. Wait. No. What I'm going to say is, I think as a girl, we have all been in that situation, particularly when you're younger, where there's that guy who has treated you like shit. And you've stood your ground and you've, felt like you've really like moved on. And then there's like a cute moment and you're both a bit drunk and you just can't help but sort of fall back into it.
I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm just saying that like, haven't we seen this movie before? Like you said, every woman or every girl, and I think even some guys, we've all had that experience, right? We've all had that experience of somebody dicking us over completely and then being some weird time and place. And this is where the Summer House, where they're forced to spend, it's like this torture box that they're supposed. So like we've all, I totally understand it. But if we have all of this research of life and our friends and all these situations, at some point, are we never going to pay attention to the research and go, okay, statistically, this is not good for me. Statistically, you cannot argue with these facts. And once again, I like Wes Wilson. Would I want Wes Wilson to be with my sister? No. Also, my sister's married. That just wouldn't work out. But I wouldn't want to set Wes Wilson up with one of my friends. But I would like, I like him. I'm sure he's a blast to hang out with.
Yeah. Well, that's right. But I think, Sierra has shown us every single season that her picker is off, as Patty Stanger would say. Like literally every guide. I mean, the whole Austin of it all. We had two
Austin
seasons of like Winter House, Summer House. That was horrific, and we all know what Austin's like. We've all watched it.
And I can also see that's another reason why you like Craig, because Craig is, he's a little messy this season, but he's pretty intentional when he wants to date somebody.
Yeah.
He wants to be domesticized.
That's right. He's he's like literally, it's like build it and they will come. He has made the family home. It is so beautiful. It is ready.
I really do love his house. I do.
Beautiful.
I love his garden. I love.
Gorgeous.
I mean, the only thing if I ever buy that house from Craig, I'm going to destroy that hot tub. That hot tub, that's a biomedical,
Absolutely.
That's just a disaster waiting to happen. That's
especially with Corey Kiefer in it.
Corey Kiefer in there. Yeah,
there's my God.
There's hazmat outfits. If I do get to go into Craig's hot tub, I want a picture of me in a hazmat suit sitting in the hot tub. It's the only way I could enjoy it.
Totally. You could borrow one of his beekeeper suits and then put yourself in there.
By the way, that would be an iconic Instagram. No.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but you're totally right. And by the way, it's going to be great television. I'm really excited for Summer House.
Oh, it'll be great.
Beverly Hills, though, we're 3 episodes in. How are you feeling? Take away how I feel about it. How does it hit you at the gut level this season?
The first episode, I was like, yawn. Oh my God, it feels so stale. I have no
Yeah.
interest in Erica Jane washing the car. I have no
Yeah, in
interest
slow
really in,
motion.
like it's not, we don't need this sort of like production value on this show. Rachel Zoe breezes in and it's like, this is
Yeah, isn't
interesting
it
and
great?
fresh. Like, give me more.
Yeah.
I actually think we could have a
And she's
whole
so
show.
honest immediately about
So
her
honest.
divorce, so honest.
Yes. Yep. And, I want a whole show about Rachel Zoe's life. I think actually that would be killer. I feel like Kyle is misunderstanding the audience and her castmates completely. No one gives a shit if she's gay or bi or straight. It is specific to Morgan. We have all been dicked around about Morgan. You brought her on the show. You did the sexy music video. You made us all know her name. Nobody knew who she was in the
But
Bravo
as a
world.
therapist, don't you realize we lie to ourselves? We tell ourselves stories to be able to continue with our life?
Absolutely. But this is my bugbear, is that the right word, about reality TV, is that you put things on camera. So many of these people film things, say things, behave in a certain way, and come back next episode or next season as if none of those things ever happened and try to gaslight us and everybody else into thinking that they never did it. Lala Kent was the worst for this,
Ugh.
And still
And that's why if
continues.
she pulls that shit on the Valley, man, if she pulls that shit
Seriously,
on the Valley,
Ryan.
I live near the Valley. Thank God you're in Australia. You're nowhere close to the Valley. It's such a dark energy. No, but like Kyle, wouldn't it be great if guys, anybody listening or watching, imagine if you could do this with your life. If something bad is happening in your life, you could just be like, well, I blame the audience. I blame the audience.
Yep.
The audience did this. They forced the issue and they made it really uncomfortable for me with this person. Like always blame the audience. When Kyle said blame the audience, I was like, give me an you court the fame, you stoke the flame, and then you get upset when it causes a fire.
Yes, 100%. So I'm feeling like I'm liking seeing a little bit more about her family. Like I'm interested a little bit in the girls again because of Buying Beverly Hills, where I felt like we got way more
Guys, Buying Beverly
insight.
Hills was the Netflix show that was Mauricio's The Agency. It only lasted for 2 seasons, but on the second season, they provided more information about Mo and Kyle's family than Beverly Hills had done in many seasons.
Absolutely. And I think that was a shock that they canceled that. I thought that really had legs, that show.
Yeah, see, that's the mystery about Netflix is they never truly reveal all their streaming numbers. So something that I thought on its face, I was like, oh, this must be a really successful show. I guess it wasn't for them not to continue.
Yeah, strange. So, I feel like I'm loving Dorit. I feel like her kind of.
Are you loving Dorit or are you confused? I mean, you're
Yes,
loving her, but
good point.
sometimes I get confused by Dorit. Because there's another one, if Rachel Zoe is being brutally honest, I don't know what Dorit is being. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get confused about everything. And then at the end of this week's episode with Amanda Francis, where it's like, we don't have any sort of financial contract in place. We didn't sign a prenup, but there are no retirement accounts. There's no this, there's no that. And then I got really scared for Dorit. And Amanda Francis, obviously, there's a little bit of a grift. I think anybody that works in vision board finance there's a little bit. I love all that stuff, but I grew up as an actor. I participated in so many weird people trying to grift you for money with positive affirmations. So obviously, but at the same point, Amanda had a point of wait a sec, you don't have any kind of signed contract. You don't. That worried me, and it just shows how much we don't know about Dorit.
Yeah, see, the cynic in me wondered, is this Dorit actually very, cleverly setting it on the record that she has nothing to do with it, actually knowing that PK potentially had some dodgy dealings and starting to separate herself from that? No, I know nothing.
Well, if you say that, then you would also have to say that Erica Jane potentially knew that her husband had shady dealings.
I mean, I'm not sure that she didn't. I'm not sure that she.
I'm just saying, how
totally
aware
innocent,
are we of our partners? How?
Well, I think. Well, that's right. Look, Tom, for example, was much older and already had his firm and all the rest of it. So he could have just been telling her that he was this super successful person. He's like, don't worry about it, honey. I'll put it on the expense account or
let me tell you about when I met John Wayne as a kid.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, I'm not sure. But
so you think this might be strategy?
It could be. Like she knows she's about to go in to a shit fight. Like PK has surprised her by coming out guns blazing. Like last season, we see them meet for a drink and she's like, we're still going to talk 5 times a week and 5 times a day. And he's like, but we're not, darling. We're not going to do that. We're not.
We'll be talking to Boy George for 5 times a week.
That's right. And all the young women that I'm going to be seeing get drinks with and kissing on the street and everything.
The streets of Beverly Hills with Mo. Yeah. I want to make out with Mo making out with one of his ladies right next to him. Yeah.
In the hot tub at Craig's.
In the hot tub at Craig's. Oh, did you see that Jesse Lally hung out with those guys the other night? He posted an Instagram. Jesse Lally posted with PK and Mo, and I was like, what a threesome. Wow.
No, I didn't. Do you know, I was drinking tequila with Jesse Lally and his beautiful girlfriend Lacey on the last day of BravoCon.
Well, tell me about that. What was that like? Wait, where, why?
So Dana, the Bravo investigator, is a friend of mine, and she and Lacey, Jesse's beautiful girlfriend, had been in touch and were just messaging, and we were in the next gen panel, and it was kind of like getting towards the end, and the low ebb, the Watch What Crappens guys were amazing as moderators, but the vibe was kind of low, and it was the very end of BravoCon.
I was there.
And
it
was just a bit like.
But you know what? I blame that on. It's the perfect representation of that show. Is that it works in storytelling fashion, but all those kids are low energy to a degree, and so when you put them on stage, they're not fully. You know, it's hard to ask them to be more than they are on their show, and I think sometimes those panels call for a little action, and it's really hard. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they probably feed off each other. You know, when someone's got great bubbly energy, you kind of feed off that and you lift a little bit too. And I think, you know, if I was going to say Seth Marks, oh my God, I've just gone completely.
Meredith?
Brooks Marks. If Brooks is like flatlining because that's just his personality, maybe people are kind of also meeting him at his energy, or I don't know. Anyway, it was just a little bit sort of slow, and then Dana was messaging Lacey, and they were just out around the corner in the bazaar, and just at this little table
in the bazaar.
So we just sat at a little table, and I have to say Jessie was absolutely lovely. We had such a nice time. Lacey is the most lovely, kind person.
She's going to be on this next season of The Valley.
Yeah. I think people are going to really connect with her. And Jessie was great.
Who'd they talk shit about? I know they probably talked shit about somebody.
There may have been someone, but I'm not at liberty to say. However, what Jessie did say when I expressed some disappointment about Lala coming on the show, he made a good point that, you know, she serves a purpose. Like she knows, well, she like will hold people to account, or, you know, will go head to head with people in a kind of he thought necessary way. But my feeling is like I don't need anyone going toes or like any of the Lala isms. I thought the show was absolutely fine. Yes, it was fine without her.
But also, what makes her the judge of any situation?
Exactly.
You know, like she holds people accountable.
Thing.
Like why?
Yes.
Wait, why do you have to? You barely got it right on your own show. Like I mean, I found Lala enjoyable at times, but if you really think about it, this is not even an OG Vanderpump person.
No.
So I mean, listen. We all talk shit about things before they've come on, and I don't want to do that, even though I didn't think, like you, I didn't think the show needed it, but I'll be really curious to see how, you know, it's like, people are like, I'm not going to watch it. Yes, you are. I'm going to watch it. Are you kidding me? Why would you ever say that?
We're all going to watch it, and we'll hate watch it if we need to. But you know what I found really telling was were you at the Valley panel at BravoCon?
I had to do one of those interviews. I had to miss it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. You just had to go and be on live TV with a Bravo Lab.
No. I only got to see little bits and pieces of panels.
But the bit, and I don't know if this aired on the replays, but Lala kind of then was like, she came on and she was like, I'm like, I can't remember the exact words she used, but it was essentially like, I was like, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm used to like, having done this for so long. And then as she's sort of saying it, she realized, oh yeah, and Brittany and I sort of started at the same time, but you could see where she was going. She was trying to kind of set the tone, like, I'm this like OG reality star, and I'm used to being on these shows, and these guys were the newbies. And as she's saying it, she's realizing actually Brittany's been on TV as long as she has. She's not actually an original cast member of
Well,
Vanderpump
that's why
Rules. She
sometimes
was a newbie.
when I listen to interviews with her and she'll be talking about like, oh, I know how production goes and da-da-da. And
Yeah.
like, that's the problem even with Kyle. I don't want people to be so ingratiated in the process of making
No.
it that it becomes about making a show rather than living your life, because it's already so difficult to be real on these shows.
Yeah.
And once you be like, oh, I'm in it with the producers and the crew and we all get along, it's like, I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. I want to watch you, like, your relationships with these people. Like, that's what I'm in it for, right? But listen, she could prove all of us wrong. And that has happened so many times. So I'll be curious about that. What's that? She won't. She won't.
No. She'll prove us all right. And we'll all be like, look, this is exactly how she's always been. And this is exactly why we didn't want her on the show. And it's not authentic. And she's judge and jury, self-appointed in every situation. And
you watch OC,
unnecessary.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
regretfully.
You felt the same way I did. I think we talked about it on your show. What a piss poor season it was.
Terrible.
And we're really in that moment that I always talk about, where it's like a campaign election where everybody's posing for photos with each other, like, because they don't know who the cast is going to be. In fact, I just saw one from Gretchen Rossi with Jacqueline Larita from Jersey. And there is this rumor Page 6 put out that Jacqueline Larita is joining the cast of Real Housewives of Orange County. All we know is Vicki Gunvalson got her orange back. But it's the 20th season. So where do you go with, like, in your opinion, how would you fix Orange County?
I think we need to keep on that train and bring back some OGs. I would love to get Tammy Knickerbocker and get an update. Laurie Peterson, give us an update. Gina Keogh, give us an update. Even if these people are friends of, but we're getting a chunk that old Lynn Curtin. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My dog's jumping up on me.
Your dog loves Lynn Curtin.
Yeah, he agrees. He wants Lynn back, and the iconic.
Well, I do think we're going to get those people throughout the season in like party elements. Like, I do think you're going to see a lot of OGs, but like in terms of like the main core women, what should they do differently? Because I just don't think last season worked at all.
No, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry about this. He's only 7 months old.
Are you kidding me?
That's Banjo, everybody. Just jumped
Banjo.
up in. So, okay, I think it's time for Emily and Gina to go. Lovely as Gina was, I did meet her at BravoCon and she really was lovely. I just don't really think they bring enough. I think Emily has been trying hard for a really long time. It doesn't land for me. It just all feels very insincere, and she's chasing fame and acceptance, and I just think it doesn't work. I don't think we really need Heather. I think she is clearly not friends with any of them. I think we keep Shannon.
Well, the rumor is Heather is choosing not to come back this next season. That's just the rumor.
Yeah. So I think if we put Emily, Gina, and Heather out, I think we have to keep Shannon because she's just such a kook.
100%.
And all of the things, that we kind of need and like about a reality star. So we have Vicky, Shannon. I'm sorry. I mean, you know how I feel.
You have to keep Tamara. I mean, even though I don't love it.
I don't know. She
they're
does something
They're
to
not
me.
going to make that big of a change for season 20. I'm saying if you just look at logistically, they're not going to. I mean, they might let go of Tamara after this season, but for the 20th season, they're going to lean into nostalgia a little bit, even though I wish they wouldn't. So I think even though I thought Tamara did one of the worst performances of a housewife I've seen in any season last season, I think they're going to keep her, especially because that's where she's so smart. She like made up with Vicky. She made up with like, you know, like she's so smart. Like I wish she spent more time on the actual show itself than all the behind the scenes stuff and the relationships that she's so good at once the show ends.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. And I just find that she just rubs me the wrong way completely. It's such a negative experience for me anytime she's on screen. I can't believe anything she's saying or doing. Nothing is real. She's coming for people, you know, the whole blogger thing. And when it's literally her entire job outside of the show is like talking shit about the shows and people. Like it's so disingenuous and there's a nastiness with her that I just can't get past. So, okay, maybe we have to leave her to see what happens with the Trace Amigas.
What about Katie Janela?
Katie, look, she might get eaten alive a little bit. I have no real problem with Katie being there. I just don't know that she brings enough oomph. I don't know. I just feel like I think
she brings
more
the oomph in. Once again, like Tamara, outside interactions away from the show. That's where she seems to do a lot of her shit talking. It seems to do, like, if we can get that person on the show that she is with all of these bloggers and all of that stuff, I think she might stand a chance. But like, she has so many different relationships with all of these, like, you know, content creators that, you know, you're like, we got to find a way to put that in the show. What do you think about Gretchen?
See, Gretchen, look, again, maybe it's the nostalgic part of me. I was really happy that she was coming back. I think it wasn't a great season for her, but I don't know. I could potentially just see another season with her just to kind of see if we can just get away from the blogger storyline and everybody like fighting over the minutiae of like one interaction for an entire season. Then, you know, I would be more interested to kind of see more
but
from
also,
her.
If it's proven that you're out spewing hate, you know, that's proven. I think that's
actually true.
I think at a certain point, there's got to be some lines where you're like, okay, you know, like we're, you know, I don't know, like I don't like do whatever you want, say whatever you want in your real life, but if we're going to talk about it on the show, then I think it gets into a different territory.
You're right.
You know?
You're right. Actually, I think that's maybe a bit dangerous having her.
Well, but like she's saying none of this is true. She's saying she didn't do these things. So
it was AI.
But that's exactly to bring it back to AI. But that's the problem with these shows is that they set up so many mysteries and then none of these shows ever solve it. None of these shows ever tell you, well, this is actually what happened, you know, and you know, production knows, you know, they know exactly what, like they could end half of these things immediately and say, this is what actually happened. And you decide how you want to feel about it.
And, you know, I think the thing that's really missing from that show is the care factor. Like last season, I did not care at all about any of them or what they had to say at all. So it was such a drag watching it. I would force myself. I would bank up episodes for like 4 or 5 weeks and then like, go and watch it.
Yeah, that was the thing too. It's like, even if it's negative, you still have to be entertaining. You know, it's like it wasn't even it was a confusing blob mess. As we wind down here, you know, I know you did mention, and I mentioned earlier, Dr. Wendy and her mom last night's episode. There was, you know, showing off all of the refurbishments, which you're like, kind of like, oh God, girl, like you have like a financial crime alleged against you, and you're showing all of this money you spent on your house, and if you should buy you know, if the next thing is, should we get a pool? And you're like, oh God, oh my God. But like the mom thing, and somebody already gave me shit about this, that I did say I empathized with Dr. Wendy when I watch her scenes with her mom or her phone conversation with her dad, because you see that there's this element, like we all do, where we're trying to impress them. I mean, she's trying to impress her own parents, for the love of God. Trying to get that love by any means necessary. I want to clarify, if you still commit a crime, you're going to do, like, I still think you should do that. I don't think they should be like, well, we watched the episode and we felt bad for you, so, you know, you don't have to serve any time. I don't, like, you do the crime, you do the time. But I want to say that I watch those things and I could see a world in which I might understand why, not clearly thinking, but why you subconsciously would do things like this to try to get the love that you feel you are not getting from your parents. Am I
Yeah.
crazy? As a therapist, am I anywhere near correct on that?
I think it gives us the context, and it's exactly the same with Muzzy and Bronwyn. And I think we all now can see why these people behave the way they do. It does not at all justify opening 67 credit cards and committing financial fraud, but it helps us understand who people are, where they come from, and their motives for behaving a certain way. And we've seen with Wendy and her mum, this relationship has been difficult. It's been awful. It's been awful to watch. And she's literally begging out loud on the cameras for her mother's approval and never seems to get it. And, maybe
You know what
the
she
only
does? But
way.
you know when her mom is impressed? When her mom sees like, the food she has or the clothing
Yeah,
she has. We've seen it multiple episodes on Potomac where her mom does
yeah.
get impressed by those things.
Yes, exactly. And so that explains potentially part of the reason why material and having and, you know, all of the things that allegedly, that couple have done, it makes sense why they've been chasing these things. And part of it is, is it the show and keeping up appearances and wanting the world to see them in a certain way? Or is at the root of it just trying to make her mum happy and make her mum proud because her mum's not interested in all the degrees and the actual, job
I
that
know
she had
the
before
thing. The
this.
thing that really impressed me was that, like, oh my God, you're a teacher, you're a professor, you have all these degrees, you're on news stations talking politics,
Yeah.
and then it's like, for me, I think that would be enough, but there is this kind of thing of this element of no, I needed more, and I needed because I
Yeah.
always was so confused about her, especially where I was like, what are you doing here? And then her
Yeah.
trying to do like the 3-wick candles, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
I
but isn't that
know.
we're caught up in our own making our own myth and trying to go beyond like all of this, trauma or, things that
Yeah.
we might not even diagnose. But I just always thought, like, you never know what somebody's going through, and you always like put a story on somebody else that might not be
Yeah.
necessarily their story. I mean, she might have
Yeah.
always wanted something that was not what she had, but I don't know. It's one of those
Yeah.
things that I watched that episode last night, and I just keep thinking about it because it made me overall sad because now she's in a real bad spot right now. They're
Yeah.
put on a brave space, they're a brave
Yeah.
face, but
Yeah.
I think it's a really, I mean, just from the outside and reading the court documents, it seems like a bad place.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't look good. But, I think the difference between someone like her and like a Jen Shah is this is more or less a victimless crime. Like she's taking big companies for a ride and stealing money allegedly from them, where
So
Jen
you would
was.
call Dr. Wendy like a Peter Pan? I'm joking.
No,
Joking.
oh no, who
No,
is
a
it?
Robin Hood. Robin Hood.
Robin
Sorry,
Hood.
Peter
Robin
Pan.
Hood.
Would
Well,
you call her like a
except that
Minnie Mouse? Yeah, sorry, a
yeah,
Robin Hood. Robin Hood. Yeah,
except that she's not giving it to the poor; she's keeping
she's
it
giving
for
she's
herself. So
giving
it's
it
not.
she's giving it to her poor husband. What are you talking
Yeah,
about? Yeah.
true, true. But yeah, I mean, I
No, I
think
know what
it's
you're
it's
saying.
a
She's not
different
she's not
level of
targeting
crime.
the elderly like
Yeah,
Jen Shaw
yeah,
was proven to do.
yeah,
And by the way, that might be how they logisticize it to themselves. Of like these companies don't even notice. They don't even care.
yeah,
Like this is what they're there for. It is a victimless. You don't know. Maybe they but
yeah,
it is interesting to watch them in court and they're dressed so nice and they're smiling for the cameras and you just wonder what that reality is after those doors shut of their car of like,
yeah,
are they like, oh my God, we're fucked?
yeah. And who's advising them? Is their lawyer saying to them, "We're just going to continue to act like you're completely innocent, so you're going to smile. You're confident. You've done nothing wrong, and we're just going to,
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly.
fake it till you make it."
Guys,
Um,
if there's any criminal defense lawyers out there listening, how do you advise clients like this? Do you just point blank say, I know you're completely guilty, but this is what we're going to do and we're going to do this strategy? Like, how does that work?
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I
need
think
names, but
legally
if
in
anybody
in a
knows, let me know.
but I think in Australia, at least, a lawyer is not going to ask you directly if you did it or not because they have to represent the truth. So from what I understand, they're not going to say, did you kill that person? They'll say, tell me, what happened from your perspective. And then, defend you based on that. Whereas, so I feel like maybe their lawyer's not asking, did you do it? And let's pretend you haven't. If they're saying we didn't do it, we're innocent, like, okay, well, let's go to town on this. You've got a really complicated relationship with your mother. You've had, all of this kind of trauma growing up. You've got a father who's absent, and that's played into it. And we can sort of use that a little bit. I don't know. I just think it would be fascinating to be a fly on the wall.
I know.
During those meetings.
It's like as an audience, we're never satisfied. It's never going to be real enough for us, because it's like we get all this and I'm like, what I really need is a GoPro in that car. I need a GoPro that they don't know about, that I get a direct access to. That would be amazing. Oh, finally, real quick, Vanderpump Rules. Any thoughts, quick thoughts about Vanderpump Rules, the new class?
Do you know what? It was another one. I was delaying watching it because I was like, ugh. Like I was absolutely burnt out by the last Vanderpump. I was happy never to see any VPR ever again. I was like, yes, it's done. Great. And so I thought it didn't really need a revival. And I watched them this week and I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like they've kind of nailed the casting. There's enough people that are like little baby Jaxes and little baby Stasis.
I mean, that guy that looks like a little bulldog, I don't know what the appeal of that guy is at all.
Hang on, is that Marcus? The one who got
Marcus. Marcus. He looks like he looks like a little like smooth-faced bulldog. And and some people were telling me that Marcus is hot, and I just, no offense, Marcus, but I just think that guy's ugly as hell, and I don't.
Do you know what it is? No, but you know what it is, Ryan? It's the personality that's coming out. He has
no personality.
No, and he thinks he's so charming and funny. I mean, he seems really
he cried into Lisa immediately. I started crying. I was like, okay, that's pretty entertaining. And I want to remind people, this show at this point now is cheap to produce, because they don't have Bravo doesn't throw money at the cast of a first season show. Money doesn't start rolling in until the third season. So this is way less expensive to produce than old VPR, where they were getting hefty paychecks at the end.
And it was a waste of money. Those last 2 seasons were completely pointless. It was a complete waste of money. It was fake.
You thought the Scandival season was pointless?
No, the Scandival season was incredible.
Wasn't that the season before the last season that we saw?
No, I feel like there was Scandival, there was one more, and then there was
Scandival,
bad one.
The last season, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Scandival, and then it was the next. It was the season.
Are we sure about that?
Oh, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure either, to be honest. Scandival obviously was gripping television, absolutely gripping. Could not look away. Then whatever it was, the last season of VPR, I just thought was just so inauthentic. It was Lala just trying to, make the show. I think Alex Baskin has a lot to answer for that. Sheena, I find annoying AF. And it was just, I had no interest in any of them. It was just like, done, please, let's walk away.
Yeah, I talked with Alex Baskin last week at Sutton's holiday party, and he came in, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" And because I interviewed him for but I never like push him for information. I'm never like, "Hey, what are you going to do with OC?" But he's producing Jeff Lewis's the Still Flipping Out, and he's got a lot. And he was telling me some things. I mean, he was telling me some things that are in store for new shows. But it is interesting because, at that level, he's not he's the head of the company. He's the head guy. There are field producers that are putting these shows together on, day to day. And he's he's the top guy. He's the top guy that, he watches the edits and all of that stuff. It's very different, but it is, I do sometimes wonder if, I don't want to say, if you can get too comfortable at where you're almost like, well, it's going good. We don't need to change things too much. Well, why drastically change something up? Now, they did drastically change up with Vanderpump Rules, but then sometimes he does OC, he does Beverly Hills, he does a lot of
The
these
Valley.
shows. He does The Valley. So I do sometimes wonder, I don't know. I just wonder what that's like, and when's the call to make like big casting shakeups?
Yeah, and I think also the person at the top in any organization influences the culture of the workplace. And so if he has been setting the tone, from the beginning of his involvement with these shows, that this is how we run the shows, this is what we want from our cast, this is how we, use our relationships with the people, this is what we want them to do each episode, you know, they're all working to a certain formula. And I just don't know. I don't know. I was talking to Amanda from Bella Talks TV
Oh, I love Amanda
about
too. Yeah.
yeah, so she's in this week's episode of Pop Therapy, but she made a really great point, which was there were all of these shows before Alex Baskin, and we always talk back to kind of the glory days of Real Housewives and these shows that were just so good, and it was for X, Y, and Z reasons. But then there was a bit of a shift when he came on. And I was really concerned when he joined the Valley because we'd had this one amazing season of the Valley. And I was like, oh no, don't turn this into Vanderpump Rules because Vanderpump Rules has just been run into the ground for me. Don't do the same to this show that has so much potential. And I feel like OC horrifically run into the ground. Like the last few years have been so bad. The only kind of
No,
interesting
I thought the last season before this season was good, but it's because something real was happening. Shannon
well,
ran
that's
into
exactly right.
Shannon got a DUI and the John Jansen
Yep.
Alexis. So
Yeah.
and the same with the Valley. Is like Alex inherited a Jackson Brittany situation
Yes.
that was going to pop off at some point. I mean, like those things, if you're there at the right time, right place, all
Yeah.
you have to do is get out of the way. You just have to
Yes.
put the right people together for scenes and then things
Yeah.
can like pop off. But then when it starts, I think to your point, is getting too produced. And that's where we're worried about Lala because then that's a
Yes.
producer move. That is
Totally.
hey, what'd be crazy? It's not
Yeah.
real, it's produced. And
Yeah.
that I think is where I kind of but that's all dependent on these cast members of like, well, do you have something real going on in your life? Like Shannon was forced to deal with something that was
Yeah.
very real that she didn't know she was going to get into that accident. She didn't know the John Jansen thing was going to happen.
Yeah. And I think it was really shady casting to bring Alexis Bellino in, but it was the only
shady.
so shady, but it was the only thing that made the show watchable. Before
yeah.
that, it was so boring in the year or two before that. And last year, this season, totally boring. So I'm just, like you say, unless there's something like that lightning in a bottle situation where something really interesting is happening in their real lives, it just needs, you know, bolder casting choices and, really taking the temperature of the fans. I feel like they don't listen to us. The comment section tells you everything you need to know. And when the majority of the people are saying, no, we don't want her, we don't want her, we don't want her, that's not a sign that
Well,
people should be cast because people are talking about them. Like
yeah,
bring
but
in people that are
I think sometimes they really truly do rage bait us. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes because I think the audience, for the most part, we've been correct, but a lot of times we're wrong as well. We don't know
Yeah.
what we want until we see it. And so I feel like there's enough information on both sides where I can understand it. I don't agree with it. The Lala thing still mystifies me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
there must be I'm always searching for the reason. Like, what is the reason? Or am I just so out of touch that she is insanely popular? It's just that all of her fans never post anything about her.
No.
Like, I'm so curious how that all works. Like, she obviously is insanely popular. She's got a high Instagram account, like followers. I'm like, this can't be bots. These
I
gotta be
know.
like, what is it?
Or can it be? Maybe it is.
I mean, if that, I would, you never know, but I would
Yeah.
find that. That would bum me out if it was. I mean, it would make me sad for her. And honestly, that would make me sad. I mean, I just always assume she is that popular. I just don't know a lot of her fans,
Well, if she really had so many fans, would she not have made the New York Times bestseller list? Because all of the, authors, quote unquote.
You know who
and
did?
look, I've-
Sheena made it.
Exactly. However, there was the cross next to her name, which
The
means
dagger,
bulk
yeah.
sales. The dagger means bulk sales, which often are bought by the person's own team. And it happens with most celebrity books.
But the bulk sales, weren't those because each person that went to the show got a copy of her book?
Well, that's exactly right. So they're buying the books themselves and then giving them away for free. And so that's not really reflective of an audience. And so the fact that Lala's team could have done that and probably still did make bulk sales, and she still didn't make
if Randall was so rich, she was still with Randall at that time. Why didn't Randall just buy up $1 million?
Because he wasn't actually rich. Exactly. Money by Monday.
Exactly. So those things, like when you get those context clues, you're like, oh, anyways.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to point out, neither of us know Lala in real. I mean, like I've met her a couple times, but I don't know her in real life. She I always hear like amazing things, and when I do bump into her, she's always so nice. So I'm talking about the character of Lala.
Character on the show.
I want to clarify that I think it is like the emperor has no clothes, which I think is a common concept in reality TV, is that people will have such bluster, and it's like the Kanye Westification, where they just say how amazing they are, that sometimes people are like, well, I guess that person's amazing, and I'm like, where is it? Like, show me where it is.
Yes,
Jana,
totally.
I've kept you so long, but tell us, so the new podcast, tell us all about it, and tell us when you air episodes and how we can support you.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. So the Curious Life has been retired. I've been doing that show for 6 years, and it just sort of felt like the natural progression. I was doing these pop therapy episodes. You've been on a number of them in the last couple of years, where essentially I'm a therapist whose own therapy is reality TV and pop culture. So it just feels like the perfect intersection. So it's interviews with people like you, Bravo content creators and Bravo adjacent or Bravo lebs, people who are in the pop culture and reality world, and we're unpacking all of our favorite things the same way that you do, but just with a kind of therapeutic lens where I can't help.
You can say it, just it's smarter.
It's absolutely not smarter, and I completely rant and rave and forget where I am, and then have to remember that actually I do work as a therapist in real life, but it's sort of a place where I can just escape reality, with all of these things, just like all of us do. So episodes come out weekly. We are on all the podcast platforms under Pop Therapy. You can find me on
if we type in Pop Therapy, we can subscribe. It'll pop up immediately. You want to rate it 5 stars, you guys, to thank her for coming on. And wait, which day does it come out?
Well, in your
really
world,
tricked you out there.
Yeah, because for me, it's a different day for you. So
when does it come out? I mean, primarily we have American listeners, I guess. When does it come out for us?
Yeah, so usually for you, it should come out on a Sunday.
Okay, the Lord's Day.
So
got it.
The Lord's Day, perfect.
Lord's Day.
But catch it any time of the week. We're putting episodes on YouTube, and if you want to find me on Instagram, it's just my name, which is Jana.Firestone on Instagram.
Amazing. Well, thank you for spending all this time with us today, and happy
anytime,
holidays
Ryan.
to you and yours. And we were thinking about you, and we're thinking about all of the people over in Bondi Beach, and this has been great. I hope everybody's enjoyed this as much as I have, and I hope wherever you guys are listening or watching this, that you are enjoying some downtime with yourself and your family and friends, and not Craig Conover in his hot tub. Sorry, Jana. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Ryan.